Welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how to sew a single welt pocket. So you would normally find this type of pockets in your blazer jackets, your suits, your tailored coats and trousers too, and also in your waistcoats, as well as in bomber jackets too, along that pocket region of the bomber jackets. So if you want to see how to sew a single welt pocket, then keep on watching. So to begin this, you're going to draw in a rectangle measuring 5 inches, as you can see, by quarter of an inch. So the height of this rectangle is quarter of an inch. Then what I did was to find the midpoint and then drew in that straight line down there at the middle. Now you're going to cut out a strip of fabric, that's this box here, measuring 6 inches by 6 inches, and this 6 inches is on fold. So the reason why I measured out 6 inches is this: if you place this square over this rectangle that you drew here, you'll find out that you have half an inch on both sides, and you're going to be needing, you should have that half an inch seam allowance on both sides. So I measured out a strip of fabric here too. It's on fold, is the same length with the box, which is 6 inches, but this one is 6 inches by 1 inch, and I cut out 2 for that. So what I did was to place this strip of fabric, that's the raw edge, on top of this rectangle that I drew here, very close to that middle line. And you also take the other strip of fabric and place it the other way, and you're going to make sure that you have half an inch allowance on both sides, away from the rectangle that you drew and all that. Now what I'm going to do is to sew from that center seam. I'm going to sew by quarter of an inch, on both strips of fabric. So let me just show you. From this middle area I sewed quarter of an inch. I measured that quarter of an inch and just sewed that. As you can see, I made sure that I didn't sew along that half an inch seam allowance I had at this area, that's on both sides. So this is what you should have now. So the next thing you're going to do is to turn this fabric over to the wrong side, and as you can see, those two long seams that I made, they are here, like right here at the back. So what you're going to do is to find the midpoint between those two seams that you made. You're just basically finding the midpoint, then you're going to draw a straight line. As you can see, I went in here to draw the straight line. Now the next thing you're going to do is to measure out half an inch, half an inch from the point where this your two seams, and this long seam that you sewed, you're just going to measure half an inch inwards, and also from the other side. So you can see, now you're then going to connect it straight to, just, you're basically going to draw a triangle, just draw straight line connecting that your point to the end of those your seams on both sides. So as you can see, this is what I have now. Now what I'm going to do is to cut along these chalk marks that I made. So I went in with a razor first, and then I'm going to use my scissors to finish up. And when I get to this point, I'll just turn my fabric or turn my scissors and cut, you know cut close to that seam that we have there. Just follow your chalk mark and just cut out that triangular shape that you made on both sides. And you So I'm done with this area. I just turn my fabric to the other side, and I'm cutting the other area, cutting close to that seam that I made. So when you're done doing that, you should have something like this. So I'm just going to turn this to the right side, and this is what you should have. So what I'm going to do now is tuck in these two strips of fabric over to the wrong side. So I'm just folding it in towards the wrong side. You fold both the top and the bottom. So once you're done doing that, you should have something like this. So this is the right side, and the other area should be the wrong side. This is the wrong side. So the next step now is to top stitch these areas by the side. So this area that is sticking out here, you should just top stitch it, just stitch it down just to hold it in place for the next step. You should do it for the other side too. So I'm done doing that. As you can see, I just use a regular stitch, regular straight stitch, and just stitch it down. So at this point, this is what you should have. Now the next step is to get the pocket bag, which is this, and you're going to turn it over to the wrong side. As you're going to turn this over to the wrong side, then you're going to make sure that the right side of this your pocket bag is facing this wrong side here, and then you're going to pin it on this seam allowance that you have here, only on the seam allowance here. So I'm just going to get my pins and just pin it in place. So as I'm pinning it only on the seam allowance, and what I'm going to do now is to just sew it up. So I'm going to place it like so, and then sew it up from the top to the bottom. So I'm done doing that, and this is what I have. Now the next step is to flip this your pocket bag over like so. As you can see, now this is the right side of the pocket bag. So what you're going to do now is to fold this your pocket bag over to the other seam allowance that we have on top there. So let me show you again. I just picked the bag and folded it over to the other seam allowance there at the top, as you can see, and we're basically going to do what we did for the other lower parts and just stitch right across there. Just run a straight seam there. So once you're done doing that, the last step, that's the last process that you should do, is to close up the sides of the bag. So as you can see, I'm just going to run a straight stitch from the top to the bottom, just sewing it down, and only sewing on the pocket bag, this pocket bag here. So, and I'm also going to do the same for the other side. So once you're done making those seams, you're done with making your single welt pockets. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at e.t.c Signatures. And until my next video, stay safe guys. Bye.